Welcome everybody to the Two Guys and the Girl podcast. I go by the name of Big J. Sitting across from me is my man Wally B.
What's up?
Word, Mimi is out for today, but we have a special guest. Sitting across from me is my man Sump.
Whoa!
Big Sump.
Sump Dooski.
Big Sump. Nah, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know Sump. You've heard his name. You've heard the stories.
Yep.
He was here last year. You know what I'm saying? It's only right in the Black History Month we kick it off with a bang.
Gotta bring our brother.
Gotta bring our brother here. Hopefully we don't lose our female demo. Shout outs to you ladies.
Yeah, because he gross.
I'm for the ladies though.
You're for the lady.
His whole it's nothing but R&B music on his phone and all that.
Lady. Like,
it's always a vibe when I'm in.
Yeah. I think I had a segment on this like last month, and like I know I was early to the party on that, and then next thing you know, Russia, like Vladimir Putin came out and said Ukraine ain't a real country.
They turned up.
He said that shit ain't real.
I mean,
I don't respect y'all as a staff record.
Who gonna test it?
He said, I don't respect y'all as a staff record label or crew. And then next thing you know, he was in that joint.
Somebody gonna have to set the record straight and say, you know what I'm saying? We ain't no punks. What's good with it?
Yeah.
And that's what we're saying right now. You know, Russia's definitely been a bully, you know, by any account. So this ain't anything new that I wasn't gonna, you know, not expect anything less out of them. So
I thought it was gonna be like incremental. Like I thought it was gonna be so small.
I guess it kind of has been incremental. It's just that like a lot of the stuff leading up to what we heard about a few weeks ago, just wasn't as widely reported on because it was like incremental. They've been like moving closer and closer to like doing that, taking these little moves, like putting people in certain positions and stuff like that. So like, yeah, I guess we kind of caught the tail end of it is what I think happened.
And just overnight, they was just dead and was with that shit. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. And the other thing, like, when Putin went and told everybody, like, we're not going to invade the country. We're not moving in across the border. And then once the day ended, they was like, let's get busy.
Yeah,
like I remember, like, woke up in the middle of the night at like 3:30, and I had a notification on my phone talking about Russia invaded. And I was like, yo, he really waited till it was the middle of the night over here.
It was mad tanks
to do that.
Yeah.
Big guns. Was like, yo, everybody sleeping and tucked away. And they like, yo,
Vlad the Invader was out here.
We outside
on his horse with no shirt on.
He loves that photo. Yeah. No, but here's the thing though. I've been watching way more CNN than I probably should be, but I came home one day and I seen there's this Ukraine woman. Like I was like, all right, Ukraine Barbie, but she had like a gun bigger than her. Just
hoisted up.
Yeah, just hoisted up. Not even hoisted up. She had it like kind of pointed down, but she was in front of a screen door, and I was like, oh, she ready for the action. So then they interview her. And she's like in a little bunker joint, right? And so then they keep flashing the pictures of her with the gun and stuff. But then I start getting curious. I'm like, okay, what's around there? I look out the screen door. It's a patio out there. So I was like, oh, okay, she like in the burbs or whatever. So then I look down at her feet. She don't even got no shoes on. She just she don't got no socks on.
Really about it.
I was like, yo, fair. She is going nowhere fast out there, Joy. She, like I said, she don't got a coat on, but she got the, she had the glizzy on top, and she was like, yo, if a Russian come down this street, it's gonna be the last street they walk down type
shit.
It's
curtains.
I consider like.
They got it.
Me, and I'm pretty sure this is ignorant, but like I consider like all of them over in that area like sleeper cells. Like all of them know it's like, you know what I'm saying?
This is the shit I'm talking about. You have to get us canceled. This is
from like like a small like 5, 6, 7.
When they MK2 Ultra 50% of the population.
It's your first AK we gonna teach you how to shoot it type like, you know what I'm saying? They get indoctrinated into the whole gang. Like,
I mean, I wasn't gonna
everybody in
say
the whole family got guns.
I wasn't gonna say
know,
nothing that serious, but like, you know, I mean, like they
that's
like
me. That's what I'm saying. I ain't gonna say
over there they go hard, yo.
Yeah.
Like they go. You remember a few weeks ago when Nikola Jokic got in a fight with somebody during the game, and all these like Russians and Ukrainians were on Twitter like, "Hey, we don't know,
you better chill out.
don't we ain't soft over here."
Like,
No, because it's cold as shit over there. So I understand, but it was like. I was like, but every person seeing their interviews, they bout it.
Yeah, they defending their home. Even the president, like president talked to Biden, and Biden was like, you know, we getting evacuation plans ready for everybody, whoever we need to get out of there, including you.
Yeah,
we got to get you out of there.
Get you out of here.
He was like, nah, I'm staying and fighting. Thank you. I might not live to talk to you tomorrow. But you know, I'm staying and fighting. This my country.
Some even said before the pie, he up here dropping addies. He was up here showing off videos where he's like, we outside.
If you need me for the foreseeable future, this is where I'm gonna be at.
Yeah.
So you remember that what T.I. video that was that when he was sitting on that little folding chair?
Oh, you talking about Boney Holmes? What's up? What's happening?
He was sitting there turning around and his feet was swinging and shit.
Then the shorty low there. Get
That R.I.P. Shawty Low.
No, but that was because he was like that was crazy because that was literally Shawty Lowe's hood. He literally posted up there.
Yeah.
That was crazy. But no, they are showing a lot of bravery. Like everybody was like, yo, this joint about to be over in like 2 days. They still at it. Like this probably gonna be dated by the time it come out. So who knows what's gonna happen? But I heard last night, Vladimir Putin is getting ready to start carpet bombing Kiev, and I'm like, yo, carpet bombing. Like he's just gonna make it unlivable now. There's like 2 million people in that whole city. I was like, man. And then I was telling Sump, I was like, they got some new weapons out where they got like this thermal missile where they shoot it into like a building and it sucks the oxygen out. And I'm like, yo. They was like they bringing out like this high tech shit. Like they are not playing.
007 evil, like
this is a black ops stuff.
Yeah, that is some Blofeld type 007 villain shit.
Like and then like the computer age, we shouldn't be seeing all this stuff just like on a daily basis. Like this is wild. There was like that scene of somebody was out looking at their apartment and like a little jet came by and then they see a missile and that joint just hits a building across. I was like, guys, that's what I'm saying.
This is like video game shit.
Dude, one of the reporters on I think it was on CNN just standing there reporting and then like, did you guys hear that? Like it was just a bomb hit a building like behind him. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, it's rough out there. Like it's obvious like what side everybody's on in this thing and like how everybody feels. But I just wanted to highlight that large, pretty sizable population of West African students who study in Ukraine. There's like a few thousand of them who I haven't heard too much, but I did hear that they're kind of being like pushed to the back of the line in terms of people getting evacuated. So, let's make sure they get out. Of course, I can't do nothing, but like I feel like people should know that that's like happening. You know what I mean? Like, and through all this, people got time to be racist. You know what I'm saying? So,
I think it's also like it's a very chaotic trying to get people out of a country, and I'm not discounting anything you're saying.
It's like it's this kind of racism is like a thing where like when people are in survival mode, you default to your defaults. You know what I'm saying? And like just if there's a lot of people who are, and they default to just their instincts, then shit's gonna happen. So not. I don't know a lot of the details exactly what's happening in regards to that, but I do know that there is a large student population that's from like Nigeria mostly, that they may not be getting the same opportunities to get out. So,
yeah, unfortunately, this is so it happened so relatively quickly. Yeah. Like there's like no organization and that shit. Like people's like, yo, you can't bring anything with you. Like we can't fit people inside this train. Like it's
they packing them up like sardines in the thing just to which in that type of situation I don't even care to situation. Just get me the hell up out of here.
Yeah, they got like
That sounds
highways full
like,
of cars
yeah.
where
Yeah.
people just were just walking because they was just trying to get out of there. So
you know what I'm saying? That you gotta do what you gotta do. Just all prayers to everybody involved. Keep your head on a swivel.
one
At
last
this
thing on it though is that I know that there's this need because everybody wants to everybody wants to feel like they want to do something, and they're like, "Oh, why don't we send troops in?" And I'm like, "Do you understand that means like we're in a direct conflict with Russia? Like the one thing we've been trying to avoid for the last 70 years.
Yeah.
It's like y'all just want to cavalierly do it.
And then on top of that, they already there.
No, they're not.
They're already
in,
like
Ukraine. They're in their NATO countries surrounding it.
yeah. So like I mean, they're close enough to take action. Is basically
Yeah,
what I'm
they're
saying. Like,
close enough, but they won't because
but that's what I'm saying. It goes to people like are saying we need to send troops down there. It's like y'all don't really know what's going. They already there, like
We need to
in
mind our
position.
business.
You know what I'm saying? Like
yo, you
That's
trying to
already
say
been
we
done.
are
We need to
business?
mind our business. I ain't gonna say like to turn a blind eye, but that shit don't got nothing to do with us. We can, be concerned, put some prayers out there, with, throw some hot pockets on a jet.
oh my god, yo. I mean, obviously it's
do it.
always more complicated.
We don't
than
need
that,
we don't need our bodies just throwing in off.
We
of
don't
some
need to
shit.
give them teddy bears, man. They need to give them actual stuff. Like the one thing that we are doing is we are giving money, we are giving aid, and we're giving supplies. I mean, that's about as much as we can give them because at a
That's what we
certain
need to
point,
do. We
Well,
don't-
here's the thing, right? Ukraine ended up. I'm not sure. I don't remember how long ago, but Ukraine ended up joining NATO not too long ago.
no, they didn't. They're not in
And-
NATO.
What are they?
They're not in NATO. Because if they were in
Recognize
NATO, we would be fighting because of
Yeah,
Article
they,
5.
They recognize it as an ally, but they didn't formally.
Yeah.
So okay, so Ukraine is supported by NATO, inching its way towards being in NATO,
Certain people,
and that's
in-
like part of the biggest part of the conflict. Basically, I mean, it feels like Russia went on ahead with all this action and these plans to kind of invade Ukraine before they could do that.
Right.
And if some of the biggest, most powerful allies of this country that's in this position between Russia and like a larger alliance of other like European or other countries across the world, and we sit back and don't do anything, anyone who's like, any country who's loyal or had like a stronger relationship with a country like Ukraine, is going to be looking at the U.S. sideways. You know what I mean? So like
I mean,
that's why there's people in place to, in position to take action and like, but it's not a thing where we can just not do nothing.
All I'm saying, I'm talking about we don't need our bodies over there and potentially it becoming like mass numbers that is getting taken out.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't.
That just seems crazy.
We don't need like
I ain't going
our
over that,
people
bro.
dying or whatever, but like nobody does. And
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
you know what I'm
And
saying? Like, and if this is a country that like doesn't have like a huge, strong military presence, they're
Yes.
going to get bowled over, and a lot of people are going to get killed. And us as United States big bad fucking military could like definitely have supported it like they're doing now in any kind of way. And if we hadn't or don't, then like that's a problem. Like we spoil relationships with other countries that are in that group, other alliances we have. Like it just creates a whole shitstorm and basically sides us with Russia because like your inaction is your how the fuck does that quote go? You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, here's the thing. So
You're guilty by inaction. So
just giving this a brief geopolitical, because we're not seeing it, but we're just giving a brief geopolitical thing, just so that people are clear on what's going on. Russia wants to invaded Ukraine because they have natural resources that Russia does not have. Russia doesn't have warm water ports because it's cold as shit in Russia. So Ukraine said they wanted to join NATO. There are people in NATO, like France and Germany, who don't want Ukraine in NATO. So that was never going to happen anytime soon. But Russia's using that as a pretense for war.
Yeah.
And so they're saying, well, since you want to join there, before you even think about doing it, we're just going to invade and we're going to take your shit over.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on right now. Part of the reason why United States isn't, fighting with Ukraine is because they're not in NATO. And if they ever invade Poland, Estonia, Lithuania, we will be in there 120%. But we don't have an obligation within Article 5 of NATO to do it. That's what I'm saying. Like it's how the countries play. And we're just people here and we can see the carnage and we can all feel bad about it. I'm just saying a direct conflict with Russia means World War III. That means nuclear weapons potentially, and that means that everybody is going to be in a situation where it's going to get real scary real quick. And I just hope everybody understands that because, like I said, it takes a lot of restraint. Because I'm sure Joe Biden has a lot of people around him that feel similar to a lot of people. Feel like, why don't we have people over there? There's reasons for that.
I hope everybody gets out what they need to get out and let this stuff die down because it's enough craziness that's just stress that they already have so much hardship out there. This is just blowing their mind. Like, bro, I don't even got no shoes on out here. What I was say? What I gotta go through this. Like, they really gotta have their head on a swivel 24/7. The comfort that we have though, where we can afford ourselves to not have to live like that.
I mean, because who's going to invade us? Canada and Mexico's going to come in. You know what I'm saying?
We don't ever really have to have that thought that it could get real. It could get shaken ahead at any type of time.
And it's funny for me. I don't know about y'all too. I'm vengeful. Just as a person, I'm vengeful. I don't let nothing go. Like, you know what I'm saying? If it's up on Thursday, it's gonna be up a month later. I don't be letting stuff go, and I realize like that's not like the healthiest way to go about stuff.
Not at all.
Nah.
That stuff festers too. But after like that. A half an hour, I let it go. It doesn't matter. I mean, unless it's like super egregious to where like I can't forgive it, and we gotta like fully stop talking.
Like we got old wreck.
That's what I'm saying. Like if it's to the point to where I gotta fight you, I gotta just leave because I'm not about to just. It's gonna be beef forever because every time I see you, I'm gonna want to fight you, and I don't want to have to do that. Like that takes so much energy.
And I think for me, one thing that used to happen to me a lot within like I guess past 3 or 4 years, it's like at the end of the year, I would have so much trash just piled up in my head that I hadn't cleared out that I would get so exhausted at the end of the year I just didn't feel like being around or talking to anyone. And so one thing I've noticed when I came back from Georgia, one thing I really wanted to do was every night I wanted to like take like 10, 15 minutes, go over the day, do what you were talking about, and try to make peace with the decisions I made or make peace with things that's happened and try to, just kind of clear out space. I was talking to Mimi 2 weeks ago in the break room, and I told her, I was like, yo, I don't know, like, I get, like, I'm expected to come in and do my job and go to work and do all the rest of the stuff, but, like, I'm still grieving my friend. And this is, like, 6 months later, 7 months later. Like, I'm not over that. Like, I realize the world wants, is still going on and doing its own thing, but this is like hitting me in waves, like on a beach. Like I think I'm straight with it, but then I'm not even really straight with it because I still get to a space where it's like it still hits me like, oh, like somebody I spent all this time around growing up is no longer here.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I had that same feeling, and it got me super depressed. I think I was texting all of y'all for something, and like I put everybody in the group chat, and then I even put Juan's name because that was just like a
automatic.
A second nation. All right, I got to put Juan, and I was like, shit, why I got to delete his name out, like, because I don't even know if his phone is still on to even receive it and stuff. Like, it could be just a random person who has his number now, and that just got me impressed. Like, damn, I can't even talk to him. You know how we know. I would talk to him a couple of times a week, the same way what I'm saying, I talk to y'all. Just weird that he can't be included. You know, with everything that is going on now, and I just even still, it's been months past, and it's still like it just happened. Yesterday in some days, and that just makes me depressed like that. I can't believe that still happened. Just what I'm saying, still in shock. So it's definitely understandable when it's those moments. It's best to take that step back and just get your composure because it could be overwhelming. Plus that storing all this inner anger and resentment about some other things that in hindsight it's really not that important. It's best to just try to purge everything because it's gonna cause a super burden that you might not be able to come back from. And
Mm-hmm.
that's scary.
Sometimes I'll be like, well, maybe I should reach out there and talk to one of y'all. But then I'm like, well, if y'all not feeling that way, I don't want to take y'all there down that road. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. So, I mean, it's a tough balance to where what I'm saying that you want to have those conversations with people that is going through it too, but you don't want to add that burden and
Yeah.
that weight to
Balance is a good word.
yeah, because
Because, like,
he might be feeling that same way too, and that might just take us over, and then that be, I didn't need a drink. Like, man, it's 10:30 in the
10:30,
morning
yeah.
on a Tuesday. Like, I didn't want you to necessarily go there. I just wanted to get this off my chest, and what I'm saying, we go about our day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, but that person could be having a tough morning, flat tire, this happened and then that happened, and then what I'm saying, that you just putting that extra baggage on them and a thought like, "Bro, I can't do this right now. I'm gonna just go back in the bed and start my day over tomorrow."
Yeah, it get rough.
It just
I
gets
think
rough.
one of the most important things is one, understanding that like your grief, the way you feel for this person, that kind of stuff, is probably it's never gonna go away. It is always gonna be there. If that person was like that close to you, you're never going to like outrun that feeling. So it's really more about like taking it in and managing it. You're gonna have to like feel it and deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's see, was it 2022? My dad died almost 15 years ago. And like it's every single day since then.
Yeah.
So like it's really important to know that it's not going to go away, and that the best thing you can do is like manage that feeling. You know, that's one of the things they teach you about like when you ever do like a beginning meditation course or anything like that.
Yeah.
One of the things they talk about is like, sitting with the energies around you, sitting with the things that you're feeling and like processing them fully instead of trying to like shut them out, and making sure that like you get through the other side and you realize that like, yes, this person is gone. I loved them and they loved me, and that's what it is now. And I hope they rest easy. Like in order for you to get to that point.
Yeah.
So
And
like you said, it is about balance,
it's
because you
balance,
can't
yeah.
just you on one hand you don't want to like trigger somebody else, like one of your friends, when they just maybe they weren't having a good time with thinking about their friend passing, and you don't want to like overstep, but that at the same time, like we're friend, like it goes both ways. You know what I mean? Like I'd be happy to like talk for a minute if anybody hit me up on that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Even if I was having a worse day, just like they were.
Yeah.
So it's
And
all about balance and management.
that's it's good to have that information into that knowledge because you know when my grandmother died, I didn't process that in a healthy way. Like
Yeah.
I only went to work the same day that my mom called and told me because I didn't feel comfortable being in my apartment alone
Yeah.
that day because I didn't know like what the hell I would do, how I would feel. It was just everything went numb. It felt like time stopped. And even at work, I cried the whole 8 hours just standing on post,
Stand up
just
against the wall.
tears, crying like business trying to come ask me questions. I'm like having a full breakdown, but I'd rather be there and deal with that than have to, you know, deal with all of the feelings and emotions rather than take that time, you know, grieve, cry, just be, in that moment and sit in it. And that's what I did with, you know, when our friend passed away. Like I really had to sit there and assess. Of course, get mad at the situation, then be try to relieve that because he was in so much pain at that time that isn't a problem anymore. And then reliving all of the good and the bad times with him, just every situation. And that's what I do now. As soon as I start feeling bad, man, if anything, you know what I'm saying, I go back to one or two moments, either us playing basketball or me hanging out with him at Morgan
Like that
State
time
or
you
something
tried,
like that.
was he with you that time you tried to get into a Q party because you had that purple
Yeah,
shirt on?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like it was just funny stuff like that. Like as soon as I feel like I'm about to start crying, just one of those thoughts that come in, I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying?
A lot of people run away from stuff like that.
Yeah.
They start thinking about the good things and they think that because their eyes start watering up that it's bad. Like, nah.
Right.
You gotta it's like holding a fart in. That shit gonna hurt your stomach, yo.
Right.
Like when one of the things that like you learn about your body when you're a kid is that you ain't really supposed don't be just farting wherever. But you can't hold your gas in. You gotta go to the bathroom. You gotta let it out because it's gonna mess up your insides. And the same goes for them real raw, strong feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's stuff that needs to come out and you gotta just let it happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whether it was a breakup, whether it was whatever was going on with
I might
jokes.
give you a day.
A joke,
like,
yeah.
I know, see, I like.
Fully be like, oh man, you still on that bullshit? Come on, man. Now
But yeah, because it was Peter got burned with a cigarette and all the rest of
black
it.
him out.
I gave you a day.
It was a black him out. Plastic tip.
I gave you a day. I'm like, damn, all right, he really heard about that. Then the next day, all right, these jokes are gonna have to go. Like,
I'm not sitting to shout at you, but now looking back, I'd even whenever you had an ex that started dating a rapper, and then
Hey yo,
that was this.
let me get it out. Let me get it out.
Hey, that was solid, yo.
Listen,
Let me get it out first, and then we but
and that one hurt.
I know that's what I'm getting to. I'm trying to get there. I didn't. It wasn't until I was like, yo, if he really liked her, that was so crappy of me to be like make jokes
All
talk
the
about.
time.
It was some dark times. It was some dark times.
But because in my way of expressing even that, like a pat on the back, it was jokes. It was just that. You know what I'm saying? It was just how we did it. But it was like looking back, I was like, damn, that was wild.
It's kind of trashy.
That's real trashy. My man's is really going through it.
But that stuff builds you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes in a good way, but a lot of times for guys, it definitely puts a scar on your heart that you know what I'm saying that bleeds onto girls behind that. Like,
and again, same thing. You these would be dudes that just you don't, when you're not good at sitting with any kind of feelings, like that drink, they remember what happened, it hits them, and then they're like, no.
That's exactly what I was doing. Like, soon as something like that, I'm gonna jump in front of this first before half feeling ever come back.
Yeah.
Wally was on the group chat, and we were talking about
what I do.
No, he was talking about drill music, and here's before we get started. Here's where I will agree with you. I believe that there are always convenient scapegoats in any sort of situation when it comes down to music. After Columbine, they want to bang Marilyn Manson. There are always convenient scapegoats when it comes down to music. And rap music has been getting it since the 90s.
Yeah.
I also will say this. When it comes down to politicians, crime rate's been going up in New York.
Like crazy.
And for a little while.
Here in DC too.
That's a fact.
And but New York DC is a little bit more segregated, right? Like Brooklyn, you could go from nice condo area and cross the street is the hood.
I mean,
Us
DC's
DC
like
too.
that. Yeah,
That's a
But,
DC
like,
too.
it's the same. It's just a smaller version of that.
Trust me, where
well-
I used to live in a couple of apartments that I used to live down there, like 2 blocks over, it's $4,000 rent, like
Yeah.
condos, but
Like all them areas where like all the row houses look like nice and redone
Yeah,
on the
like,
outside,
where
and
I
they got
was
like
at,
homeowners associations and shit.
and them
It'd be
couple few
crackheads
blocks,
walking down this street and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it is that close together down
it's
up
jumping,
down there too.
like, yeah.
Yeah. So like when they're like, okay, people give up. People are like, okay, I want to feel safe.
Mhm.
And any like in New York, I want to feel safe. I want to go back to when it was like this. So then the mayor and the police department are like, all right, we know how we can make people feel safe, and we know what people won't care about. We're gonna start jamming up black and brown people again. We're gonna do stop and frisk again, and people won't care if that means that crime goes down.
Yeah.
But then they don't do a causation of
They don't associate the two things. Like, of course, crime rates like go down when you just randomly picking off a bunch of people.
and you just
that was in a specific
and specific
people.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you don't strut it across the
Yeah.
board. Like, you know what I'm saying?
because
So
little Adam got that shit on him too.
Yeah,
and he might, you know what I'm saying?
Little
And if-
Adam.
and
My
if-
man got
and
the
if you
grip
check-
skidly
yeah.
in the backpack.
And if
like,
you check his book bag, it's a couple pounds of, we ain't gonna say what's in there, but
multiple things.
it, you know what I'm saying? If we had it, that's life. You know what I'm saying?
and what I was saying, and you're right. And what I was saying about with drill, if you're rapping about, oh, I just killed Sonny the other day,
Oh, that's yeah.
and Sonny's actually just got killed the other day.
It's a small contribution to it. I don't think it's
I don't,
a.
but see,
it's a
I don't
big
know if it's
factor.
the chicken or the egg situation.
And that-
So
that's what
I can't get into.
That's
alcohol.
part of what I was telling you the other day. It's not like one. It's not like that one comes first or whatever. Like it's a circle. It's just a cycle, and there was no real definite starting point. It's just like life in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And
No,
it spawned another type of music, just like it's been doing for the last however many decades.
I'm just saying, whenever it
Yeah.
comes down to that, people need someone to blame. And
Yeah.
when they need someone to blame, it's usually people who look like us.
Mm-hmm.
And why I was saying with music in general, hell, I like that shit. But I also like more conscious stuff.
Yeah.
We should celebrate more variations of music so that people just don't say, oh, yeah, the only way to get on and get into a hustle is doing it this way, because then it leads to all kind of attention on our community, and we get jammed up, and where 1 out of 3 black people
Yeah.
black males are in jail.
I think it might be a little bit of a mistake to speak as if, these other types of rappers and artists aren't like being highlighted in the way you think they are. It's just that the shit that hits mainstream, gets the most, money put behind it by the biggest companies is the stuff that like is really like egregious and out there. It always has been like that. So when you talk about like people's music that's being put in front of you or that you see from time to time, the people with the most ammo behind them in terms of getting their music out there are the people that's like rapping about doing the worst shit just because it sells. And like it's that's really like it's like a hurdle that you can't really get over when you're talking about that, because there's other artists who are like very conscious rapping about other things that are like getting highlighted by a large amount of people, but like they're never gonna have the machine because of what the machine's looking for.
Here's an example. Back in the day, Jadakiss, he was known for doing gangster rap lyrics and all the rest of that.
And still.
Huh?
It's still doing it.
Yeah,
It's
and it
fine.
still does it. Yeah. No, and I rock
It's
with it.
fine.
But he
I don't-
made-
Keep it popping up here in Yonkers.
yeah.
But he made Why, right? He made the record Why.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do that.
Mhm.
The climate at that time was, if I make this record, it'll go.
Mhm.
That was so the record company, he made that as a commercial record, and it went. And he got Anthony Hamilton on the hook and all the rest of that. So what I'm saying is that there was an appetite for the public for this kind of music before, just like there was an appetite for other things.
I'm saying that there always has been, and the level, like people's we've always had a pretty healthy appetite for that kind of stuff. It just hasn't changed. We haven't had our appetite hadn't gotten stronger or weaker for that kind of stuff. It just hasn't changed. But the what people want from other types of rap music, like the demand's gone up. So it looks like, you know, we're not highlighting these people when in fact it's just like the loudest motherfuckers are getting, you know, the most attention. We couple that with the fact that when you're talking about a period of time between the early 2000s and now, there is more space for people to fill with their content because the internet is just a whole nother like world. There's just more places for you to drop your stuff into. And again, when you got a machine behind you, you're definitely at an advantage over everybody else. And again, the machine's looking for like that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I think people are interested in ignorant stuff. And more of it like that's the only reason why you get like a Tekashi to Pop.
Yeah.
And you know, so I like I said, I don't want to go like you said. I don't know if we're saying something dissimilar or we're just saying something in a different way. Because I don't completely disagree with what you're saying.
I think you're like leaning more towards like your actions have consequences type shit. Like when it comes to what they talking about and what they doing.
I'm just saying I hope that the people who are going into that understand that it's not just you. Like you getting a lick means that it gives people excuse to then jam people up, and it becomes if we're saying Stop and Frisk was bad, with them promoting or talking about the stuff that they're talking about means that it gives other people more of a leniency and permission, especially a black mayor in New York, to do some things that are a little underhanded and shady. And so that's my thing that I don't like.
It's like the fight between doing like doing you and like, you know, trying to make sure your image is okay and shit. Because like,
you think rappers have a social responsibility with what they say, or you think it's just art and they just get to express it? Because that's
I definitely lean towards that.
Let me take it out of rap. Do you think artists in general, Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, all of them, do you think they have a social responsibility? Do you think that Taylor Swift has a social responsibility to just say, you know, talk about what the latest guy who broke up with her?
I feel like they have a social responsibility at the point in which something they do or say starts to like really, you know, affect something. You know what I mean? Like if Rick Ross would have put that You Don't Even Know song out and had that one line in there, and then after that he was like, yeah, yo, this is just how I move at the club. You know what I'm saying? Drop a little Molly in a drink. She don't even know it. I had all the fun in the world, and like, you know, it's the way to go. And if he was out here just saying that shit in interviews, like, and people was just doing it, like, yo, what? Yes, you bear some social responsibility after doing that, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to like a lot of these drill artists, you know what I'm saying? Like these Bammers is young, like they like 16, 17, 18 years old. Like social responsibility ain't something we expect out of people that same age that are way, way better off. You know what I'm saying? So like, I lean towards that side. Like an artist got to be an artist just because like you can't expect somebody that's that age in that kind of situation to be responsible in the way that you're trying to get them to be responsible in. It just don't work like that. So, you know, raise your kids better and make sure you don't let them watch shit you don't want them to watch. Like, I don't know. Like, I know that's like a hard thing to say to parents, but like, it is what it fucking is. Like, shit sucks out here, and like, you gotta do what you gotta do.
The parent in the room, how do you feel about that?
I don't listen to that shit. So, and my son don't listen to it.
How are you, like, I'm curious, like,
There you go.
But when he gets to like 12, 11, 13, like, how do you legislate what your kids are exposed to? Because I always
the best you can.
I was trying to ask, you know, parents that because I was
everything on his phone and his tablet. I gotta approve before it gets downloaded on there. It automatically comes to my phone as a notification asking if I allow it. Plus, you know, his mom just at any given time, him and your phone, and she going through it like she the feds or something. So it ain't like, you know what I'm saying?
Well covered.
He's 11. Like it ain't like he about to have like, you know, a super secret folder and this is what he got. He got, pictures of guns and all, doing all this stuff. If he do got anything, she gonna find it. I got it easy. All these other kids, that's in that, and then what they hearing, all right, well, that's what I gotta do, to start being like, so and so and so and so. So I gotta start carrying guns, and I gotta shoot 2, 3, 4 people to make myself seem like, what I'm saying.
The worst part about it is be like the dudes the people that they looking up to, like the actual rappers, like for them, like it is like that. You know what I'm saying?
And
it totally is. They have to, like, that's their life. You know what I'm saying? And like the kids watching them may or may not be in that position, but
and they choosing to do it. You know what I'm saying? And they don't got to. They walking around in $200-$300 Jordans and a Gucci.
That's
belt.
why we had gang in our neighborhood.
I gotta tote a gun. What you need a gun for?
But I don't know if people take that seriously. That there are people that are really in the trenches.
It's all trauma.
Who doesn't do that,
and it becomes second nature.
That doesn't even occur to them to do that.
But you're saying like you're saying there's people that are like totally enveloped in that world. They live there that don't do none of that stuff.
And there's people who are not even in that world.
Yeah.
And like, what was it off of 8 Mile? Terrence got really good parents and all the rest of that stuff. They're not really. It's to a point where you got people just, like I said, if you don't dispel these narratives and this stuff, people will start thinking that way, that people don't really have a choice, when it's like, no, people at certain points do, and then they choose certain things. Or not every environment, just because you don't have a parent, means, oh, you got to be, That's what I'm saying. They made a choice to be knuckleheads and steal cars and get arrested in the first period.
Some of them may not have had like the choice to do something else, like some of the other kids. But like, there's it's never a 100% thing. It's never a thing where 100% of the kids out here gangbanging only had that as a choice. You know what I mean? It's probably most of them. But there's some of them that chose that route. Like you hear rappers talk about it all the time that like were hoopers and ended up choosing the other route. You know what I'm saying? Like, it happens.
But HP ain't one with us, though. You know what I'm saying?
That whole thing just like
it was stupid.
It was stupid.
But it's funny at the end of the day. It's all dumb. Like going to go do bullshit and then park in the driveway and go in your 4-bedroom house like. Why are you doing this, Terrence? You really know how to do it. Well, I'm saying, if you was really like supposed to be in it, like it's a couple of y'all in an apartment, and y'all you had to like find rob a couple people to get.
Man, you knew where your next meal was coming
from.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like you go straight to the refrigerator
in the family room. The whole dynamic of it was just weird. Like
how can you not?
Stuff. Like your dad worked at the Petro, like he make $100,000 a year. Like, what are you out here trapping and stuff for? Like, go home.
Go in the house.
But in our community,
you got a big screen in your room. Like
back in the damn.
Yo, I saw somebody. Some rappers, they said like Florida Evans the other day. I forget who it was, but then they posted a picture beside her. It was like,
of her and Big Poppy.
Oh, that's what it was. It was Big Poppy. That's what it was. It wasn't a rapper. Yeah.
No, I saw that. I put my phone down and walked away. I was like, no, can't do it. Internet ain't shit. Because they both had the same gap.
Yeah, they was making their smiling the same and all that, yo.
Oh, my God. Yo. Them comparisons be like spot on. Like folks be on their own, like spicing them jokes. Put the pictures together. Like
I would have never thought to put them together.
Like, you got too much time on your hands. How did you see that? Them two wasn't ever in the same area to even like.
Yo, they wasn't in the same room ever in life. They was like, yo, Big Poppy.
They ain't from the same country, yo. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like that's just crazy.
Oh shit, I'm about to cry. All right, yo. Thank you again, Sump, for stopping through.
I appreciate it.
Hopefully you guys rock with this episode. Like I said, nice to always have family come through. And hey, like what they said, hoarding things isn't just in the objects you keep. sometimes it's the emotions you keep as well. All right. Have a good day. See y'all next week.
Last boogie, I like it old school. Fresh paint and some bass on an 80s groove. They be like, Wally, what you got? I'm a bust a move. Just in case y'all forgot, I belong on top. Lead block, straight up the middle. I'm first in line, no second fiddle. Bitch, I got the heat to serve straight off the griddle. No cheese, just a little bread and butter for the Put your hands up and catch what I'm putting down. Drift around corners from C Pleasant to Georgetown. The chances are we ain't got a lot of common ground, but you gon' call me by my motherfucking proper name.